Hey guys, my name's Dave, this is Custom Spray Mods, and in this video I'm going to show you how to increase the value of your car using some paint and a buffing machine. I'm going to do it on my wife's car. We're about to sell it, so I need to make it look good. Let's do it. Okay, so the tailgate of this car has scratches all over it. It looks like it's been opened up and it's hit some kind of garage. There's scratches on the back of it, so I need to sand them down, repaint that, get that looking good. There's also scratches in the clear coat. I'm going to use a buffing machine to buff them out as best I can. I'm going to clean the interior and get the paint looking great. So I'm going to do all that in this video. Let's go. Now, as you can see, these scratches are quite deep. Sure, I could put some touch-up paint in there, but I want to fix them properly, so I need to start sanding. I'm going to sand with 120 grit dry sandpaper and just keep going until I can't see those scratches anymore. Okay, so the first step is really easy. It's just sand the scratches out. I used 120 grit, and that was really quick with the block and got those scratches completely out. Now I went to 240 grit sandpaper. And that is now smooth enough for me to put my primer on. So yeah, you cannot leave any bits of scratches. If you think the primer is going to fill those scratches, it's not. You need to sand it completely smooth. I've done that. Now I'm ready for my primer. Before I do that, I'm going to mask off the area. So I'm going to put tape around the edges of this panel. This has a nice line that goes around here. I'm going to tape around here. I'm not going to put a box of tape around the primer area. Don't do that. Just spray the primer. Any overspray is going to get sanded off anyway. So we're ready for primer. Let's go. Oh, if you're thinking about what tape to get, this yellow Magpie tape, it is amazing. It works really good. It doesn't leave any residue. It sticks amazing. It's waterproof. If you're looking at tape, the yellow Magpie is great. Now that it's sanded, I'm ready to mask up using some plastic. Okay, it's all masked up. Now it's time to clean it, then I'll be ready for some primer. I like to use wax and grease remover to clean it. You don't want to use like a thinners or a terps or anything like that. Wax and grease remover is great just to clean the surface. Spray on, wipe off. Now I'm using a high build primer. High build means it's very thick and it's going to fill any low spots from that scratch. I'm putting it in a 1.8mm spray gun and I'm going to spray 3 coats. I've got my air pressure set to 25 and I've got my gun set up correctly. I'm ready to paint. Painting 3 coats, waiting 10 minutes between coats. And when you're painting primer, you can move the gun a little slower because it's quite thick. We have sanded those scratches down. That means it's not level. The primer is designed to build up that level and it's going to make it look nice and smooth. Now I'm applying a guide coat. This is just a black chalky product and it goes on and makes it so when we sand it, we can see where we've sanded and where we haven't. It gives a thorough sanding guide. Finally, I'm sanding all the edges with a super fine sanding sponge and I'm going over the rest of the panel with a grey Scotch-Brite and a scuffing pad to help all the new paint and clear stick. Now at this stage, I'm masking up with paper because it absorbs the paint and clear and it won't flake off once it's all dry. Now I'm spraying with wax and grease remover, cleaning it up and ready to start painting my base coat. I'm going to mix up the base coat. This color requires a black base first, so I'm mixing it with base coat reducer and I'm going to spray 2 coats of black base, then I can spray my silver. Like always, before painting, I'm cleaning it with a tack rag just to get rid of any bits of dust left over from sanding. Now I'm spraying a quick coat of paint over the repair area, and my second coat is going over the whole panel, making sure to overlap and get a nice even finish. Now it's time for the second layer of base coat. I've mixed it up, put it in my gun, and I'm going to spray 3 coats over the black base. This is a very fine metallic and it's got a little bit of pearl in it. It's a great looking color, but it does need that black base to get coverage. Doing 3 coats, making sure to be even, going quite quick with my hand speed, just to get that metallic and pearl to lay down just right. So a quick tip when you're holding your spray gun, you don't want to wrap your hand around the gun and use your whole finger to pull that trigger. You need to angle the gun, bend your wrist. Just need to use the tips of your finger to pull the trigger. That way your wrist can move freely and you can follow the contours of the panel. By using your wrist to keep the gun even and level with the panel, your base coat and clear coat will lay down nice and even. After 10 minutes for the base coat to dry, I'm ready for the clear coat. Now I'm going a little bit closer and doing a little bit more overlapping with my clear coat just to make sure it goes on nice and smooth. This clear coat dries really quick, so after about an hour I can unmask it and I can start moving on to other parts of the car. And as you can see, the scratches are gone and it looks great. So yeah, I could probably give it a buff to make it look even better, but at this stage the scratches are gone and the colour looks good. Moving on to the mirror covers, they have some scuffs in them, so it's time to fix them properly. I'm sanding the scratches out with 320 grit. Then I'm going to finish off with a sanding sponge. I'm going to sand the whole thing with a sanding sponge, then I'll be ready to move on. After cleaning with wax and grease remover, I'm spraying 3 coats of high build primer from a can. That's going to do the job at leveling the surface. Now it's dry, I'm going to sand it with a sanding sponge to make sure that primer is nice and smooth. I'll clean it again with wax and grease remover. Now I'm ready for base coat. Now to paint these parts, I'm going to use the DV1S. It's a mini version of the DV1. It's a great gun, it looks amazing and it feels really good. I was really impressed the way that it lays the base coat down and the clear coat. I used it for both parts of the job and I was super surprised at how much paint comes out of this little gun. The fan is great and the finish is super even. I really couldn't fault it. I can't wait to use this minigun again. Now moving on to the other scratches in the clear coat, I'm going to use a machine polisher to try and get these out. This bird poo etching I'm going to try with a Rupes woolen pad and some fine compound. Using a 21mm DA, I'm going over the surface to try and remove that etching. All the other parts that are a bit deeper, like the scratches, I'm moving to a blue woolen pad and a blue coarse compound. This is a heavy cut to try and smooth over those scratches and make them a lot less noticeable. Now all the scratches that were too deep to come out with the polisher, well, I'm going to clean them with a wax and grease remover. Then I'm going to apply some touch-up paint. I'm using these special little brushes that apply the paint nice and even and smooth. Now this is not a perfect fix, but it's good enough because I'm selling the car just to hide those scratches. Now my favorite method for cleaning up these piano black side pillars is CarPro Essence and a soft pad on a DA polisher. This just gets them looking really good and leaves a bit of ceramic on the job so they're nice and glossy. A great tip for cleaning windows, the inside use up and down strokes, and when you're cleaning the outside use left and right strokes so you can see where the streaks are. But finishing with a DA polisher and a microfiber cloth is the best way to get a streak-free glass. Now check out the state of this gear shifter surround. I don't know how it got so scratched, but I'm going to try my best to get it looking nice and glossy. First, I'm trying a machine polisher in the rotary setting with a little pad. That didn't work, so now I'm sanding with 2000 grit. Now that I've sanded it, I'm going back to the little rotary machine and trying to sand all those scratches out. And once I've done that, I'm going to clean it with a polish remover and then put a ceramic coating on there. The ceramic coating will hopefully fill any of those fine scratches and give at least a bit of a glossy look back to that gear shifter surround. Now for dirty carpet and dirty car mats, the best option is the Tornado gun. This thing, hook it up to air, hook it up to a vacuum, and it gets rid of all those hard to reach areas and really deeply cleans that carpet. Now that's done, I'm using the 3D LVP cleaner, spraying it on these leather seats and using the brush on my mini polisher just to give these seats a scrub. After years of 3 kids in the back seat spilling milkshakes and peanut butter sandwiches all over these seats, they've developed a bit of grime, so I thought I'd just give it a deep clean, make it look really nice and smell good before I sell it. Now that the interior is all done and looking great, I'm going to spray the ceramic detailer over the paintwork on this car. This is a new product, 3D ceramic detailer. It's basically a spray-on ceramic. It'll give you about 3 months of protection, just a matter of spraying it on, wiping it with a microfiber cloth, and then wiping it with another cloth just to make sure all the residue is gone. This stuff is super easy to use and gives a really nice gloss. Okay, so the tailgate is all painted. I fixed the scratches. I got the polishing machine out, polished out those scratches in the clear coat, got the car looking good, touched up all the little chips and scratches, then I sprayed a ceramic spray over the car. It looks amazing. I cleaned the interior and that looks great too. Now, yeah, it's ready to put for sale. I'm gonna take some photos, chuck it on Marketplace, and hopefully we'll get the sale. Okay, so even though it wasn't a DIY friendly method, yeah, I did it with a spray gun. I used a polishing machine to get those scratches out. All this stuff can be done cheaply. You can get this in spray cans. You can get a cheap machine. You don't need all this expensive equipment. And if you watch all my previous videos, I show you that you don't need that expensive equipment, but it does help. So I used it, got the job done, fixed the scratches, polished the car, sprayed the wax, and it looks great. All this stuff is available from VG Auto Paints, online or in store. Come in, try and find me, say hello. Otherwise, check out our Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, VG Auto Paints, Custom Spray Mods, all that stuff. See you next time. Thanks a lot.